There are other second level domains. I'm just thinking now. .Cape Town, .Joburg, and .Durban are all in the second level. So there's no structure in terms of co, org, or net. You simply register xyz.joburg or xyz.cape Town. And the same will apply for .Africa. So can I have the second slide, please? In developing and growing a domain space, we, I think, as registry operators and ccTLD administrators, want to get to this position, which I call the domain vortex, or the self-perpetuating vortex. And that basically means that you get a critical mass of domain name registrations or registrants that create enough presence in a particular area. They basically saturate the area with the use of the domain name by providing relevant products, services, and information. Consumers then are attracted to that namespace because it's prevalent and they can see it everywhere they turn to. And more consumers adopt these domains by using them. So, for instance, a bank in South Africa registers a .co.za name, and that bank has 1 million or 2 million or 3 million customers. Each one of those customers is going to use that bank's .co.za domain name to access their banking services. So the more of these domains that are out there, the more consumers are going to identify with that domain space and feel some degree of loyalty towards it, or have some degree of trust in what is associated with that domain space. And then the vortex perpetuates, because the more consumers identify with the namespace, the more new product providers and service providers and information providers want to also adopt that domain space. And this thing then creates this vortex that self-perpetuates to the extent that you don't need to market the namespace anymore, it markets itself. It just becomes so prevalent that everyone in that particular area or territory or industry wants to have that domain, and everybody on the consumer side is expecting to see that domain in use or provided with an online service. Next slide. So, next slide, please. Hello.
Next slide.
Thank you. So the real question for registry operators and the ccTLD administrators is, how do we get to that self-perpetuating vortex? And that's where we all want to be. I think we identified in ZA that we sort of reached that point around about 100,000 names, and then it really starts getting a life of its own. You need to prod it in the right direction every now and then, but once it gets going, it's actually a fantastic asset to have in your country and as a domain product. But some of the elements of this recipe for success in getting to this self-perpetuating system is given things like, for instance, your systems and policies need to be robust, and flexible, and scalable, and accessible. I mean, these are just given things. Your registrar community out there, your resellers, are going to expect reliable systems. They need to be up, and they need to be developed and presented according to standards. Something that doesn't require extraordinary effort or skill or integration from their side. So, you know, it's just one of those very critical building blocks in developing a sound registry system, in that you have to have these systems as stable and reliable as they possibly can be. Then obviously, as I mentioned yesterday, your domain products, you have to have your value proposition. You need to understand as a registry operator what your domain products are, what they're intended to represent, what market they're intended what market they're intended to service, and how you're going to market this domain product to that particular market. You need to develop, in any namespace, especially ccTLDs, you need to develop very strong relationships with your stakeholders. And in a ccTLD, government's always going to be one of your top stakeholders. You need to keep government happy in terms of what's happening, provide them with the right amount of information, assist them with advice and guidance in terms of regulations if that's what your ccTLD requires. But essentially keep them in the loop and keep them happy that you're on top of the legal aspects relating to the namespace and how it represents your country and the value proposition. Obviously, the legal community is a big factor in most successful namespaces. You know, you need to reach out to the legal community, build services, and engage with them on rights protection mechanisms if you have to, or consumer protection issues if you're looking out for those things. So building these mechanisms around your stakeholders is critically important. And then obviously, as we mentioned yesterday, you need to develop that channel. It's one thing to have a fantastic domain product, but you need to get it to the end user. And your channel, which is a combination of registrars and resellers, you as a registry need to develop that 120%. And then when you've done all of this, you're in a position to start marketing and promoting your namespace. And this is the real key to how we think we've achieved some degree of success in co.za in particular, and hopefully something we can repeat for .Africa and .Cape Town. It's the 80-20 rule. It doesn't help you as a registry operator to try and market to everyone and promote your domain space to everyone. What you should do is you should try and identify the influences in your community, the high-level users in your community, and you need to engage and market to them directly. Ideally, you would be looking at the financial institutions, the banks, travel, government, these type of influences that engage with end users and force large numbers of end users to actually engage with them online. Those are the type of entities that you want to have adopt your domain product. And if you can focus your marketing and your promotion on that 20%, the other 80% will actually follow that. That's where the vortex starts. If you can get that 20% sorted out, you've just kick-started that vortex. And basically what happens is the bulk of the other businesses and other potential domain name registrants start following that 20%. And that's essentially, I think, how you grow your namespace. Basically, in a nutshell, is that you should focus on the low-hanging fruit, and if you can convert them, the rest will follow naturally. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's from our side.
Thank you, Ni. Thank you. The theory of 20-80%, can always be applied anywhere. And here, your marketing strategy will focus on the most influential 20% of your market, and the 80% will follow. That's what Ni has communicated to us. And look at those that will fall into that your 20%, the most influential, those that will advertise your brand. Okay, a distribution van, for instance, that will, boldly advertise its domain name on the vehicle or billboard or anything that will do. I think that is critical for us to note, and that's a great strategy. So with that said, we'll go to Mouhamet. Mouhamet is a registrar, so he will tell us how he has been doing his own strategy in marketing the ccTLD. The pointer.
This is the bottom one.
The bottom one. So you should use this one,
yeah.
The last one.
The last one.
Okay. So Mouhamet, over to you.
Thank you. Well, I think that, Mary, you asked me to talk about our marketing strategy. I'm going to talk about a little bit what we have tried to do, yeah, and what we should do in order to achieve a good and successful one, because I think that we come back on. I did not touch anything.
No, okay.
First page, okay, stop there. Okay, so so the whole idea here is about we are in an environment, and we talk about the marketing of domain name in our environment. Can anybody tell me if you have ever heard of a TV campaign of domain name in your country, in different African countries? Who have done that in its own country, a TV program to do a marketing of domain name in any African countries? Has everybody heard about it?
I think registrars in, sorry. Hello?
Are people following?
Hello?
Okay. Who had never heard about a campaign of domain name in Africa? Okay, who have heard about a campaign of domain name in Africa? Both question and opposite have the same answer. I got a problem here in the room. Okay, so let's look at the numbers, what we have in domain name worldwide first, to understand why I'm asking this question. Because it's important that we understand that we're talking about domain names. And domain names now, we talk about less than 300 million domain names worldwide. It means something. But if we compare it to the penetration of mobile SIM in the world, it's we're going to find it a very small number compared to that penetration. If we compare it to the Facebook penetration, it's going to be a very, very, very small number. So my question is, we as a community of domain name businesses, are we performing well trying to sell domain names? Of course, in Africa, the answer will be obvious. I mean, we did not do well. And why? So the question is, do we understand what our customer needs? Do we try to understand what they are looking for? Are we able to help them achieve what they are looking for? Are we able to react timely when our customer wants something? Are we able to deliver on time what they're expecting from us? So if somebody come and want a website, we're going to tell him, fine, you need a domain name, you need somebody who's going to design your website, you need somebody who's going to host it, and maybe at the end, if it is an e-commerce, you need somebody who's going to sell you the seal, the SSL, to show that your website is secure. And the customer say, how long is it going to take? And our answer is always, it depends. For the domain name, it's 3 seconds. And for the website, we don't know. It depends on whom you're going to talk to. It can take 1 day, 5 clicks, 2 months, 1 year, or forever. So are we organized to deliver when a customer wants a domain name, when a customer wants a website, when a customer wants an email operating? Are we able to deliver as a community? I think that if we answer that question, I think that everything else will come very easily. And I think that what Niels have shown yesterday regarding the value chain, there's something missing, is a delivery process and the time contract for people, what they're expecting to get the service delivered, within which time frame. And I think that it's very important that we analyze it that way. So let's look at some numbers about technology, and just this is going to trigger us and understand why so it works sometime.
The last one is the one that...
It works sometime?
No, it works every time. The last one, yes.
The last one?
Yes, that moves. The last one.
Okay, do I have to point it here or there? Good, okay. So I'm talking on behalf of some registrars that we have shared this idea about how we're going to perform. And we have some challenges that I just going to highlight here. Just give you a summary of what I have trying to explain. And why I'm insisting on the enhanced cooperation, because if we did not structure the market, even if you have a good marketing campaign on domain names, and if that critical part of web content development and all this aspect is not secure enough, I mean, we will never end up by getting something on the market. And it's very important that you understand that. It's a chain. And the weakest part of this chain will make the whole chain weaker, and that's what's happening. We cannot deliver on time what our customer is expecting from us. And we need to think about how we're going to sort it out. So, oh my goodness, it's just... Okay, so I'm going to ask you to click. It's going to be much easier because I think that there's something. So yesterday, we talked about who are the different actors who intervene in the domain name business. We talk about resellers, fine. We talk about registrars, we talk about CCs. And what happened recently, this environment have exploded. From what you heard yesterday was, we come from an environment of less than 23 ccTLD to more than 600 new registries on top of the road. And each registry has its own strategy, its own community, its own target, its own market. So registrars have to deal with all these 600 strategy and try to see behind them what the customer base wants really. So it's really tricky. The second things that have changed this dynamic is the introduction of the IDN. How many African countries have their languages available and they're marketing for people to have their website in their own language? I know about one experience in Amharic, but I don't heard about many others in the African region. Is anybody heard about any other environment except what's happening in the Arabic North Africa that is part of the MEMA group, like the Middle East and North Africa? So they have worked closely together in order to promote the Arabic IDN. And then now they have a whole community that can read, go online, do whatever they want using the Arabic script. So this shows that the complexity on the environment of domain name is becoming a little bit tricky, because it's going to be very difficult to merge all this marketing strategy and to ask for one registrar or one reseller to deploy it on behalf of the community. Okay? So next. So if you talk about numbers, look at these numbers quickly. It just gives you an idea about the number of billion cellular. Why the penetration of the mobile operators of the mobile is so high compared to the population of the globe? Nearly, people say that they have more SIM cards sold than people on Earth. So if you look at the domain name business, we have less than 300 million domain names worldwide. .com and .net have over less than 130 million domain names under just .com and .net, with very sign. This gives you an idea about the major performing. You see how .com fly compared to the others, and you see, well, everybody can find a reason for it, but in fact, every commercial company can look at itself as a .com, and it's very easy. So the promotion of this TLD is not based on a specific campaign that people have done in our country. I have never heard VeriSign doing a campaign in Africa. I have ever heard a registrar doing a campaign in Africa for .com or even for our local. So there is a problem. We did not campaign. We did not use the official channel to inform people, to educate them about the use of a domain name, what is it for, how these things can help your business grow. And if you look at the media, TV represents more than 70% of the exposure of our population. Do we have any campaign of TV show explaining to our end user what is the need for domain name, for e-commerce, for businesses, and how this is going to impact their day-to-day life? So this question, we're talking about marketing, and we forget how to interact with our end user target, that is the African community. So we're messing up there. Maybe we can find reason why. And I think that in many African countries, it was because the one who was managing the ccTLD was from the university. He was not business-oriented or something, a volunteer. All the managers of CC are volunteers historically, so they are not business-oriented. They are not selling anything. So they just, manage the DNS for the community, and that was just a volunteer basis. And this have happened for over the past 20 years. So now we're shifting from a volunteer basic staff where people are volunteering to do stuff for ccTLD. In Senegal, it was the university who managed it for over years and years. In Malawi, I think that Paulos were also, from the NGO perspective and the university, they're managing it for just as a volunteer basis. So how are you going to expect to get numbers growing if you did not use any marketing, any technical, any sales to promote what we're doing. And the first step is education. And we did not educate our people. So capacity building was at the 0 level, and we tried to achieve goal in that area. I'm really skeptical. I don't know how we can achieve it if we don't help people understand first why, how, and try to understand how we can help them do it. So, next slide, please, just quick on. And okay, so in terms of actors, you have seen these are the numbers that we have today in the domain name space. If you add the next slide, we're going to show you how many we got currently, more than 600. And you have another one that's going to show you in a very short term how soon we think that it's going to happen, because remember that we have over 1,900 applications on the table of ICANN. Up to now, they have over 600 that have been granted, accepted, and moved. So it means in that environment, people are talking about confusion. People are talking about how you're going to market more than 1,000 domain name as a registrar. No way. I mean, if my customer come, everybody understand that they need, over 3 choices, the customer is lost. You have to give him the better, the best, and the good. Good, better, and best. If you go beyond that one, you create confusion. So for our customer, the first choice is what? The ccTLD, if not, .com. If it is not available, now you can try to see what's going on behind. This is what's happening on field. So the customer tried to look at .com, look at the CC, and then after, if these are not available, so he tried to think about other options. This is what's happening. Because what? Because it's just, they heard about it, it's the exposure that they got, and there was no marketing approach from any of these new GTLD or even these existing ccTLD in their own environment. So things are changing, because in many countries, the regulator is involved and trying to see, okay, it is our objective to increase domain name penetration. How many countries have put a domain name penetration as an objective and put numbers in it? I've seen none in the country that I have in my neighborhood. If anybody have that in their objective in the country, please let me know. I'm really curious to hear about it. Because people don't think that DNS at that stage, with the knowledge that they have, because nobody educated them, we did not do our job to help them understand. So no government have put any numbers in terms of objective of the domain name penetration, of the content, of the numbers that they want to have in their country. I haven't seen that. So we are failing. We are failing, and we need to confess and try to see how we can correct that. And I think that one of the main objective of our organization at the IF Registrar is to promote education through domain names, increase capacity building, and try to have a fair and trust cooperation between actors. If you don't do that, nothing will happen on field. So next quick. So I think that there are 2 things that if we forget that, people will never listen to us. I mean, political leaders, people who have in charge the governance of the country will not listen to you if you're not able to demonstrate that what you are talking about will create jobs for US people. This is going to create value for them. In that area as well, we have failed. Not only us, but even the organization that is trying to promote the domain name worldwide, that is ICANN, did not do much in trying to convince people to understand what is the dynamic and the impact of the domain name of the economy. Recently, there was an initiative with the Boston Consulting Group that was the first one that we have a study showing to a country what is the impact of the domain name of our economy. If you don't have these numbers, if you don't have these things, it will be very hard to convince a government saying that, hey guys, you need to take care of this, you have to pay attention to this, because it will be able to help you create job for youth, you'll be able to create job for entrepreneurs in rural areas, it will be to make your economy more competitive, because you're going to have more exposure, you're going to have more opportunities for your guys. So we transform the society, we transform the market. If we don't succeed in showing them how we're going to transform it, nothing would happen. Okay? So let's come on. So we need to follow the money. Show me the money is really important. Show us how you're going to share it, how you're going to transform it. So this is a digital engagement process, so it's something that everybody understands. Go ahead, quick. So we are 9 actors, officially accredited by ICANN here in Africa. IS in South Africa, Kheweul.com in Senegal, Ghana.com, AfriRegister, Genius Communication, D-Media, Web for Africa, DNS, and ATA in Tunisia. This is the order that they have been accredited. Okay? So from 2007 to now, from 2007, March 2007 to now, you only have this number of registrars accredited by ICANN in Africa. And none of them can take on its own the strategy to do a marketing of the whole domain name space. It cannot work. Some initiatives have been done. We can talk about it, and it's really the next slide that we show. We did something on the content. We did a lot on other side, trying to raise awareness and doing stuff. But this is our goal, is to promote the domain name business. How we're going to make it? People need to work on website and content development. We have seen a Facebook penetration that is so huge, but I can tell you the Facebook penetration in our countries doesn't mean business, doesn't mean anything useful in terms of economic impact. 99% of people I have seen around Facebook, greetings, it was nice, how things are going, but very few have think about transforming Facebook environment into an economic environment where they can get money out of it, get sales, get orders, be paid. This is what we're talking about. So the e-commerce approach. So think about how we're going to transform these Facebook users to people with their domain name environment, their safe things, their e-commerce lab, and helping do what? Create job and create value. So we have another program that ICANN was very eager to help us on, that is the Registrar Reseller Incubation Program. The CEO of ICANN have committed himself to help move the numbers of ICANN accredited registrar from 9 to 25 in the next 2 years. It was very hard to achieve, and the concept of creating an incubation program where existing registrar and the community can help people who are eager to jump into that business to shorten the process and help them doing things. So I think that it's something that we really need to focus on, because many people are asking how we can become an accredited registrar very easily without getting the burden that we live every day. So there is one item that is really painful, is the law enforcement compliance and contract. We as registrar, what gives us the status and the quality of service that we are trying to get is we are compliant with a lot of stuff, issues that every single day, if we fail in one item, the compliance will hit us, and we cannot keep our agreement until we get compliant again. This is just what? This is the only reason why the customer trusts us, because they know that we are under a sum of constraints that keep us at a level of standard that our customer trusts that we deliver good services and we deliver high quality of service. If we did not have that one, it's going to be very difficult to keep standard in a market. And if a market did not have standard, competition without rules did lead to a chaos, and that's not what we really want. We want a competitive environment, but fair competition, and the end user need to have what we call trust. This is the key word for end users to join this domain name business. Let me ask you one question. Why somebody it's very easy for him to open a Facebook page, start his email, and then start. It takes him how many minutes to get this up and running? 3 minutes, right? So if he had another choice of getting his own house, not being hosted by somebody, like under somewhere else. So do you think that if I ask you, do you prefer to have your own house or being hosted by a friend into his house? The answer is obvious. But if it is too tricky to build a house, if it takes you years and years to build a house, what's going to be your option? Go and get a friend who's going to host you. That's what Facebook is doing. And that's what other hosts are doing. So the idea is if we help our end users understand and get it very easily as a value chain, it's going to happen. Time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that it was, okay, there was some other point that, go ahead quickly. So I just going to stay here, okay? Our focus is going to be how we're going to digitalize Africa, how we're going to help the SME, the micro entrepreneurs, and others perform. For small enterprise, enterprise and micro enterprise, what they want is the internet connection. The connectivity is there. Some actors are doing it for us. The web presence or web application, this is the industry that needs really to be enhanced in cooperation with the domain name industry. The other part is, for entrepreneurs, same thing. Mobile payment is an issue. Some people, when they want to pay, credit card have less than 5% penetration in Africa. It's a big challenge. So people have to move to mobile payment and to make it integrated. And also to allow our people who want to get their e-commerce site available, how they're going to get their money in their pocket immediately if they come and get the domain name, get the things up and running, get their e-commerce up and running, and then be able to get their money in their M-Pesa or in their mobile banking or whatever. So this gives you an idea about the different components that we need to talk each other in order to achieve what we're expecting. For me, my strong belief is promoting domain names only without being focused on application and content will lead us nowhere. Will lead us to the numbers that we have already seen. 3,000 domain name in Senegal, 1,000 or whatever in Ivory Coast, 2,000 in Ivory Coast, 300 in Niger, whatever. I mean, or 2,000 in Mali. Numbers are not there. We want numbers, but if we don't take our end users in a process of showing them the money, so they will not follow us. And that was my advice for that point.
Thank you, Mouhamet. Thank you. Show me the money and I will follow you. So that is the catchword we'll go with. And he has talked about education. He's talked about the confusion in the market because of the number of TLDs that are there for the customer. You recommend good, better, best. And he also mentioned about our country, our government, coming up with an objective of making sure that we increase the domain name, especially the ccTLD domain names. But what can we do as registrar or registry or managers of ccTLD? What should we do? Hear it again. If you don't take the customer, what the customer wants, if you cannot respond on time, and if you market only domain name and leave the ancillary services out, it will be at the same point. So we take this back to our homes and back to our countries and be able to pick order. I think the presentation will be on our website. So if you download it, it will help you in your marketing in your own country or your own TLD or your own registry or as a registrar. But there's something that I think the number of registered domain accredited registrars in Africa, one is not there.
Which one?
Upper Link.
Huh?
Upper Link. From Nigeria.
And Matrix from South Africa.
Yeah.
Is in it.
Is there? I didn't see
Okay.
Is in.
Upper Link from Africa, from Nigeria. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So we'll add that. Thank you again. And we now go over to .mw. Dr. Paulos would lead us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll talk briefly about our experience on .mw. and maybe assist to highlight some of the things that Mouhamet has talked about. But first of all, maybe I can comment on second level versus first level. This issue was considered under CCNSO about 5 years ago. And the issue at that time was to study the trend in policy that ccTLDs were going through in terms of either having a restricted domain name space. In terms of policy, you have to be in the country, you have to be registered, and things like that. Or structured domain name space. You have to register on the third level and things like that. The results, the research was done by .no, and the results were quite clear that the trend since then, and I think it is the trend even now, is towards more open domain name registrations. Fewer restrictions, less structured. And so this is why you're seeing significantly large ccTLDs like .uk moving to a less structured structure, moving towards opening up the second level and reducing restriction to registering on the third level. This is a trend that we need to note. It's happening. And I think that even in Africa, more and more ccTLDs are considering an open approach. So in Malawi, we've always had an open approach. We allow registrations on the second level. We have third levels, which we encourage people to use, but we do not restrict to third levels. Coming to marketing, the experience in Malawi is that we have done some marketing campaigns in adverts, in newspapers. And yes, I think I can make an observation on Mouhamet. We have deliberately not chosen to do TV adverts. Okay. We have deliberately not chosen not to do extensive radio, but we do have some radio. There is a basic reason. If you do a TV advert, how much does it cost compared to your domain name? You'll find that it is not justifiable to do that. And last 2 months ago in April, I attended a marketing session for .eu, and .eu doesn't do TV adverts. It's too expensive. So the experience in Africa, in our region, and the experience in Europe is the same. TV advert does not deliver value for money for domain name adverts. It's too expensive. So what is the experience that we have gained in marketing through printed media? The experience has been that, yes, we get, when we do a newspaper advert, we get a lot of domain registrations, new ones. And it's very exciting for 12 months. But what you see after 12 months, when it's time to renew the domains, is that you need to prepare for a significant administrative load to cater for domains that are not renewed. So what we see in the experience, and we've done this 2-3 times, it's the same. We see an S-curve. Your registrations go up, you have to handle the deletions, they come down and they flatten. And the level at where they flatten is indeed higher than where you started. But it is only after you have done a significant amount of domain name deletions for those who were excited during the campaign but are unable to renew them. Malawi is on a 2R registry structure at the moment, and we are moving to a 3R structure within the next month or so. We've done all the groundwork. We've started contacting registrars to test our system, and we have moved our database. So maybe I could talk briefly about our strategy for the next advertising. Because we don't have a full-fledged registrar system, we are considering advertising or marketing in order to recruit registrars. And we are targeting ISPs, we are targeting our current worldwide resellers, we are targeting large companies. We think it's necessary to highlight advantages of being a registrar. This is on the training side, because our community really doesn't appreciate what it is to be a registrar. In this case, we need to highlight the profits that can be made in being a registrar and the credibility that comes with it. We think this is important, and I think it applies to many African countries. I think at least half, if not more, African countries are in this transition of moving to a true 3R registry. We think it is, in marketing, important to communicate with the registrars, and we're considering face-to-face, mailing lists, participation at events like this one, and making a good offer for accreditation. It's no good doing all this if you can't accredit properly. We're thinking of promoting the TLD via the registrars, and in this, if we do a good recruitment, probably it will be a good idea to provide incentives to encourage a good price, maybe to allocate some of the money that we collect from domain names as a registry, allocate it to registrars to carry out marketing campaigns for us. We think that it is not really necessary, once the registry is running at full 3R, that the registry should be doing this. The job needs to move to registrars. And we would encourage them to do this either with event banners, through resellers, or through printed adverts. Maybe Google Ads is not a bad idea for marketing your domain. Direct mailing lists and social media. So briefly, these are the strategies we're looking at as we move from 2R to 3R. And in the CCNSO, in 2 years ago, there was a marketing session, and the Philippines put up a banner with a half-naked lady and asked the audience, is this a good way to market a top-level domain? The general answer was no. So when you're constructing your banners in marketing campaigns, you do need to take the sensitivity of your market into consideration. So finally, we are considering marketing via shelf space. This is via website. Shelf space means that your advert sits on the website for people to view, compared to Google AdWords, which is not a really shelf space type of adverts. So we would appreciate to hear any of your experiences. These are our marketing strategy as we move to 3R. And it would be good to hear experiences from the audience. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much, Doctor. There's something has mentioned that will be of interest to the registrars. Maybe we'll allocate money collected to the registrars to do advertising or advertisement. Okay, very interesting. And this is a proposition maybe we've not ever considered in the African context in our registries. So maybe we'll look at that. But I think what I didn't hear much here is your strategy to the registrants. You know, the just like Mouhamet said, what do they want? If I want to register .mw, what do I want? And I know that by the time you go to 3R, there will be a lot of innovation. There will be new things that will come up and new ideas. And the registrars would also help in making sure that the product is delivered to the registrant at affordable, timely, and trusted manner. I think trust also is something that we should think about. Thank you very much, and I'm happy that you from day one you had your TLD open. If you would like, you register mary.mw or mary.com.mw. I think, are the prices different?
In Malawi, the prices are not different, and they are the same whether you are in Malawi or outside.
The prices are the same,
yeah.
Whether is second level or third level.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They are all domain names.
They are all domain names.
In Senegal, they are different.
Okay. Can you tell us?
In Senegal, the pricing, if you take it as a second level, is different from the third level. Divided by a ratio of 3 to 4.
So 3 to 4, okay.
Yeah. And if you are a local registrar, and if you are an international registrar also, the price differ a little bit. So that was what we have seen in Senegal.
Okay, a new strategy differentiating between local and foreign registrars, right? So the prices in Senegal for local registrars may be lower, or is lower.
It's lower.
It's lower, okay. And there's differentiation of pricing between second level and third level. Now the floor is open. We want to, you can ask, okay, sorry.
We can add also something that, and we really want to thank some of the ccTLD that give the opportunity to African registrar to have a better price than the international one. It's so thank you, because it's a way of promoting the African registrar compared to the big giant who come in and grab the market. And I think that I'm not giving names here because they can have some problem with some big registrar who say, why do you give a better price to the African registrar rather than the international one? But it's a good idea, so thank you.
It's an idea. I don't know whether it's good or good enough for our market, good enough for our environment, encouraging uptake of our TLDs. But I will give Neil a chance to say something, please.
In ZA, we don't have different prices for second level and third level because we only do third level domains. But we do have a component that we call premium names, okay. Especially on the on some of the second levels, net and web and org.za, and for the new GTLDs. So we've got any 3-character name, character domain name or less is automatically pulled through on a premium price. So it's a standard premium price. So all of these names are the same price, but they differentiate from the normal price. And we basically also implement, or we're looking to implement, a means of allocating these premium names that is not first come first serve necessarily. Maybe using an auction process or something like that, or lottery, to allocate premium names once, if you're launching the namespace, the reserved names that are premium, or if you've got an existing namespace, drop lists. So when those names become available, they haven't been renewed for whatever reason, maybe allocating those through some sort of auction process. But then I also wanted to share with you something on registrars doing marketing. What we tend to do in South Africa is engage with the registrars on specific marketing campaigns, and then provide them with an incentive or a rebate system. So basically, a registrar would come to us and say, well, we've got this program we want to implement. It's Google AdWords, normally the case, or a print media advert. And we're going to be promoting ourselves as the registrar plus your domain products, .capetown.joburg.durban, and it's going to cost me X amount of money. And then we'd look at it and say, well, this is something that's definitely going to add value to the namespace, and it's going to market the namespace. So we would help you fund that program by giving you a rebate. And that rebate could be a discount on future domain transactions for a number of transactions. So we could say for the next 1,000 domain names that you register, we'd charge you at 50%, or it could be over a period of time that we give you that rebate. But we certainly are encouraging registrars to come to us and say, these are our marketing plans, can you help us fund it as the registry? And we'd look at that and certainly jump in. And then obviously ad hoc incentives across the board for all registrars. We'd look at spring sales as an example. So we'd take a month and we'd reduce all the prices for that particular month and make that price available to all the registrars, and then actually create a public announcement around special pricing. So there is a good synergy between registry and registrar in terms of marketing and help funding that marketing.
That's right. Thank you very much. The floor is now open. You can ask your questions and make comments. And we have less than 30 minutes to do that. Okay.
Hi, this is Mark Elkins from DNS Africa. Mouhamet, when are we going to be expecting then your TV advert to come out so we can all flow it?
Good one, Mark. Good one.
Yes, this is Nelson. I'm from South Sudan. I work with a company called Web for All. I'd like to give a comment regarding to what Mouhamet has said in the area of education and also marketing domain name as having a holistic approach toward marketing domain names as opposed to just marketing the name itself. I'm from South Sudan, and the government is using a .org domain name as I'm talking right now. I think the area of education and awareness is a very key if you want to do marketing. Like in my country, the illiteracy is very high. So to educate people and tell them what is the benefits, what are the differences, and even the simple things, it's very important. And I really appreciate Mouhamet for that. Regarding marketing domain names, I think a holistic approach will do better than marketing the domain itself, because your clients are not buying a domain for the sake of the domain. They are buying domain to market, to have a business, to have an online portal, or to have something in place. So the idea of just the domain name is not an end by itself. It's a means towards an end. So I'll urge my colleagues here to have the same holistic approach towards selling the domains. Provide your clients with the necessary ecosystem that will help them set up a website, set up something, or have good partners in the respected fields who can help you with such.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And yes, Kemi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kemi. I'm representing NIRA, Nigeria Internet Registration Association. My question really is to just get different opinions and different angles of fees. Now, is there like a stable price or like a guideline price that is given to the registrars as to how much to sell the domain names? Or is the registrar allowed to use their discretion on the fees? Now, I know Malawi says, okay, they have the same price for both the second level and the third level when they are giving it to their registrars. But the registrars, are they allowed to give any price they want to the end users? I want to see it from both the angle of South Africa, and I also want to see it from Malawi, just to get a broader picture of, the guidelines and the policies around fees and management of the sales of domain names. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will take two more before we... Okay, next. If you want to speak in French, you are free to do that.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Good morning. I am Makalon Hunji. I come from Benin, and I'm the technical staff of a Benin company. I would like to thank the panel for these interesting presentations. My question seeks to find out how when we want to increase the number of domain names in our ccTLD, we often have more and more requests from outside of the country, of China and other countries. I would like to know if there is any risk involved in registering ccTLD from outside the country, and if there are risks, how can we anticipate these? Thank you.
Yes, after you now. Before we do the second round, okay? Go ahead.
Okay. My question to Mouhamet, how many domain names under .sn second level CC compared to .sn third level? Second question, the percentage, you said that the percentage between second level and third level is 3 to 4. So is this percentage according to market needs or not? Thank you.
Thank you, Mouhamet. You had a lot of questions, but let's go from Ni on fees. Is there any guideline? Is there any bottom line or max for registrars, or is it open? A registrar can just sell at any price.
The fees that the registry charges the registrar is fixed by regulation, so the regulator determines those fees. But the fees that the registrar charges the reseller or end user is not fixed at all. It's not regulated at all, because there is very strong anti-competition, or not anti-competition, unlawful competition rules in South Africa, and it would be regarded as price fixing if we did force that down. But we see generally there is a parameter, because you have pretty large registrar group, 450 registrars, so they're very competitive, and they tend to keep their pricing somewhere between, from the wholesale price at zero markup, in other words they cover the cost and they add value-added services, to 100% markup on the wholesale price, but nothing outrageous. And there's a lot of opportunities for the community to shop around and get the best price.
While you are still on local against foreign registration, do you have some limitations on that? And if not, are there some dangers involved in opening up to the world?
In CO in ZACR, for instance, we have no limitation or eligibility criteria for local registrants or registrars. So we gladly accredit any registrar, whether they're in Africa or internationally or locally. We don't price differentiate between those different registrars. In fact, we prohibit it in terms of the regulations to show any favoritism to any registrar. So we need to deal with every registrar fairly and equally. And we found that our statistics show that we've got about Outside of South Africa, the second largest block of domain registrations outside of South Africa is actually located in the US. About 56,000 domains registered to US registrants, followed by Germany, and then the rest of Europe, followed by the rest of Africa, and then Asia. So we can actually follow that, and we see that by opening it up and keeping a relatively open and fair system, we see that we've actually been able to achieve quite a high domain registration numbers outside of our specific country, and the US is a very good market for us in terms of that.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Before Mouhamet takes on, we want to go to Dr. Paulos. First is the fees, if there are guidelines, and the restriction. And again, do you consider cross-border registration risky?
Thank you, and thank you for the questions. Fees, as a plan on our transition from 2R to 3R, Malawi will be most likely reducing fees by 40%. And we're doing this to encourage local registrars to come on board. We are aware that our current resellers, we don't have any restrictions on how much they can charge on a .mw domain on top of what we have. We have taken some statistics locally as well as local resellers as well as international resellers, and the fees that they charge to the end users vary quite a bit depending on what bundle the domain name is put in, whether it is put in as part of an email service, website hosting, e-commerce site. There's quite a bit of variation on the price that they put on top of the domain name. And some of our external resellers go as high as 3 or 4 times the price that we charge. Are registrars restricted? No, we have no restrictions. You can be a reseller within Malawi, outside Malawi. We don't really care, as long as you handle our domain name registration properly. As of now,
à manipuler notre nom de domaine. À l'heure actuelle, le plus grand nombre de
requests. There are so many requests from China that we did have to put in place a deliberate move to evaluate this, and we approve only a small number of them, because most of them tend to be a little bit frivolous in what they are requesting.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Mouhamet, vous allez prendre. Vous avez plus de questions que les autres. Nous allons aussi examiner la question.
As local, whether there's any risk of having foreign registrars and registrants. I mean, registrants.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to start with Mark. Okay. Mark, a couple of years ago, we did a very successful campaign, TV, for music industry. That was what I was trying to explain to you, that just pushing for domain name was not the point. We just to bind it to a program. Like a couple of years ago, we tried to help our local musician people to be online and to get their website. And it was through a raise program. That was very successful. It was through the ad, we added through TV, through whatever, and it was, for them, it was the first time that the IT guys come and serve another community, that is the community of musicians. And we're expecting to get this to be replicated in other areas. So this is one. The second is we also tried to have another approach with .pr and the .org program. We also did something like this. So we think that joint marketing program is a way to move. It means a registry itself a ccTLD, as Paulos was raising it, will not be able to face the budget of, but they can do a joint marketing program or exchange services and get this type of service from the TV. Like when we did that for the musician, for example, the national TV, we do the compensation program where they say, can you rebuild our website for free, and we do some ad for you. So these type of things can happen very easily. And the regulator also have a strong budget. In all regulation in Africa, they got a budget to promote ICT in our country. And this money, if they don't put it in relevant program like content development, they're going to put it to promote sports or dance or whatever, because they're going to fund advertising program, people who ask for sponsoring. But if you give them the window to sponsor program like this, they will be able to finance or to fund program for TV or whatever going to be, because the objective is to promote the indicators of the digital economy. And every single African country have signed this agreement through the wishes that they all want to promote digital indicators. It might be from mobile penetration, domain name, content, but very few have tried to implement it in a way that we can see numbers and follow it as a KPIs. So this is just for Mark. Are you happy with it? Good. So no, I'm not giving you the floor back. So thank you. Okay. So from our friend of South Sudan, I think that he's very relevant when you talk about education, that it's going to be through a holistic approach. So I confirm. So it needs to be a joint program. Single actor cannot achieve it. And mobile operators are looking into our industry, so be careful, be ready. If you don't anticipate, they're gonna eat you. But if you anticipate, they're gonna be your partners. And this is a message. Mobile operators spend a lot of money in any ad, so TV, PLV, whatever. And what they're advertising, even they're advertising Facebook now. All of them, they have a free program for connection to Facebook page. They whitelist the Facebook pages, because they know that if they want to get more customers for data network services, they need to open up for some content, and they don't have that one, they take Facebook. So this is just one example of what can be done on that level. So Kemi, for these different angles of tariff, ccTLD fix their prices in many countries. For example, in Senegal, they fix a rate. They fix a price for resellers. They agree with the resellers to sell at X price. So they have a ratio of 40% to the registrar, 60% back to the registry. But after, the registrar can charge whatever. But this is the price that is on the website of the registry, that this is the domain name price. So this gives, for example, internally in the Senegalese market, a customer know that this is the price. But, well, what was not maybe the best way is the customer can go and take that domain name straight to the registry or come to the registrar. So this is what is the angle missing in order to have a fair competition for this market. So because if the customer go to the registry keep the 100% of the money he collect. If the registrant go to a registrar, so the registrar have to send back 60% of what they are collecting to the registry. So that's how it works in Senegal, for example. But the idea is to promote fair competition, we have to understand that in a price of a domain name, you got what comes back to the registry. Like, for example, if NIRA charge $10, for example, and you sell $20, it means you have to give $10 back to NIRA. And then from the 10 remaining, you have to do your marketing, you have to pay your salaries, you have to do whatever keeps you up and running. And this is really where it becomes tricky. So based on numbers, somebody can reduce the pricing, the gap. It depends on how you expect. Or sometimes he can decide just to sell back the domain name at the price they get it from the registry, because they earn money somewhere else in the bundle service like emails or web or whatever. So what we try to send as a message is trying to lower the price of domain name in order to help people achieve it. When we start our business, in Senegal, the domain name was sold, a .com was sold $100 when we start the business. We come on the market and we decide to divide it by 10. We come from $100 a domain name to $10 a domain name just straight away that we start. And these have changed drastically the way that the end user, think about getting a domain name, because 100 when you're an African from a poor country like ours, so thinking about just putting $100 for a domain name that is just a domain, that it is not visible, you cannot take it, you cannot put it on your pocket. It's, it's a little bit tricky. And okay, the last, I think that it's, okay, there is a question regarding the second level and the third level statistic of domain name. In fact, people are more eager to take the second level in our country. Third level have been experienced, for example, one specific area, like education in our country, use the second domain name, use the third level. For one main reason, we want to protect the kids. We want them to use the emails relevant within their network. And we want to allow people to be connected, because there is many initiatives in Senegal where they try to get a website and a domain name for all the schools. And what we don't want is these young people being exposed to anybody else in the network. So we're trying to just put any things like filtering or whatever. So they keep this network of education being strong and trying to help them, exchange program, share experience. And I think that it was a good thing to have that third level of .edu, .sn in my country and in other country, that's going to allow for all schools to start thinking about domain names, what can be done with it, what policy can apply to the domain name, how you can manage an email community to be safe, that if somebody, because you have to be paranoid somewhere, because our kids are really exposed to people who are really sometimes good or bad, and really need to prevent them from bad people, to get exchange with them, to interact with them. And I think that this is one significant use that we get for the second level. And for this domain name under edu, the price is 5 times lower. I told you that it's 4 to 5 times lower than what we have on the initial pricing under the second level. Because we say that education needs to be promoted, even if it can become free, fine, but people want just to have a symbolic participation to show that we want it, and then it has been granted. Okay.
Thank you very much. Are there still some burning questions? Okay, Yahovi, any other hand?
Burning question?
Burning question. Who? I didn't see the... Abib. Okay, Abib, and then Shagu. Let's start from Yahovi, please. We just have 5 minutes. Please, we just have 5 minutes. So be straight to the question, please.
Okay, I would like to speak in French. Okay, I'll go fast in English. Yeah, okay. Can you hear? Okay. I have a comment and 2 questions. The comment is, I'm speaking on my... can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Yavi. I have a comment. I'm speaking on personal capacity. We talk about education, that is very important. But I have some... people are still not convinced in Africa when we are talking about our ccTLDs. So I just want to point out that it's very important when we are educating them to make them more confident. Because like 15 years ago, people don't believe that at the national level, ccTLDs, they can perform, you can have security. So people still have this in mind. So it is missing in our education to tell them that we have people, we have technical people, And even they have to be confident because they think that the government will take our data information. So today we are putting our information on Gmail, etc. We don't care because we think that people cannot have access to information. But to put it at the national level or on ccTLD, people are afraid. So I think in our education, our campaign, we have to make them more confident. The second point is that some people, they said, I have my domain names. They don't know that somebody said yesterday, even if my company is ABC, I'm operating in Kenya, my domain is abc.com. I should have in mind that if I have abc.ke, it's very important because if the people know that my company is ABC, they just think that about abc.ke. So in our education is also something very important we have to work on. And my question to the panel is, what is your policy? Like anybody coming first for a domain name, you give it to him. Like if my company is ABC, somebody come to you, want to register ABC, you just give it to the person because it's the server, or you have some policy about the concerning intellectual property or this. So it's a question to all the panelists. Thank you.
Just for clarification, do you mean whether they have policy of first come, first serve? Or just giving, you don't investigate any, you can give out any name?
Exactly, yeah. Okay. My company is ABC, somebody come to you, want to register ABC, you have a policy, you have to check all these things.
You check whether the name belongs to the person that is applying?
Yeah, I'm just putting the question, but I don't know if you have a policy, somebody come, you just register him. In some countries in Africa, for example, the first level domain name, if you want to register for the first one, you have to be a company and you have to produce a lot of documents.
Thank you. And the next, Abibu.
Mine are rather the comments, not questions. And first of all, I would like to underline the importance of collaboration between the registries and the registrars, because basically they are the distribution lines. So we should promote the marketing activities of the registrars. And secondly, most of our CCs in Africa are not sustainable. And therefore, for the case of marketing through radio and TV sessions, really not affordable. But there are some free air times with some of the radios and TVs. We should take advantage of those. On the issue of educational capacity building and marketing of CC, I would underline the issue of branding our CCs. Because the great competition we are having with the .com and other GTLDs is that our CCs do not perform or do not work properly. Or if you send an email, maybe there are some delays. So we need to do the capacity building with techies within the organization or our community so that they can manage their servers well to the extent that the end user gets good experience in terms of our CCs. Once we brand our CCs, then the value proposition, communication to the end user becomes really smooth and easy. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. Appreciate.
Okay, my name is Olusegun from .ng. I just want to talk about the aspect of, because none of the panelists have talked about the aspect of closed domain. There are some second level that are closed, and we are looking at the way that we can market our domain, and which we in turn turns to increase of the numbers of domains that we are having. But looking at what Mr. Mouhamet was saying, that concerning the .edu, that they feel like if they can even give it for free, and I am concerned about that because you know, our continent now and on the internet, a lot of things are going on in which we need to be very careful, even when we are looking at marketing our domain names. And when you are saying to give it for free, and I look at it from the point of a registry that have their .edu as a closed domain, in which they have their reason to do that because they need to protect some things so that the fraudster will not take advantage of that. Well, I begin to wonder, in a way, it's also hindering the marketing as well, because people now find it difficult in a way to like get the domain name on .edu. Like somebody might be running an institution in which he feel like I need to put it on .edu.ng, for instance, and doesn't have the required document, and you just want to get it. In a way, it's affecting our marketing, and I just want us to talk about that, how we can get out of, take the advantage that is in there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, before we respond, I think some of the questions we asked, we're going to show a short video that could give some insight or answer, right?
I think Yovi actually raised the issue is how do you differentiate your ccTLD from others and from .com. We actually came across this question within the ZACR, and we decided to come up with a short video that describes or explains the value proposition of .za. This helped us as a company understand our value proposition. So that exercise was just as important internally as it is for external communication. But have a look.
Yeah, I think that's what Mouhamet was talking about. Mouhamet, are you happy with that?
Thank you. I think that everybody can change the day with SN,
Yes,
ML, GA, or
NG.
CI for Cote d'Ivoire, or BI. Okay, I think that I answer quickly to the question I have.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that the question from Yahuvi regarding the education, it's part of this interaction that the ccTLD need to have with the population. Might be individuals or businesses. And for the policy, I think that we still have some country where the ccTLD did not allow people to register if they are not corporate or company. And I think that it's a little bit, it's a case, it's also in Senegal. If you are not a company, you cannot register. So, but they are trying to open up to get people to be able to register, because what I did not understand, and I think that this is the case in many African countries, the informal sector did not have registration number. They did not have sometime for their businesses, the numbers from the central repository of corporate register in the country. So if you don't allow them to get that presence, to get their business, and in real life they get their business, so I don't think that we are playing our role. So we need to be really flexible. Sorry. We need to be flexible and open up to allow these people to be to use their local domain name. So about the sustainability of the ads on TV, I come again. If you want to talk to people, you will talk to them where they are listening. In Africa, why political people can talk in 5 minutes, everybody understand what they're saying, they did not put it on the web. They use radio and TV. Exposure on radio and TV represent over 70% of what get relevant the product ad that people are doing. If we want to make it happen, we cannot ignore it. And I have some relevant presentation regarding this, but in Africa, if you want to sell a product, if you don't go on TV, if you don't go on radio, I mean, no ads, no sell. This is the point. Ask to the telco operator, they're going to tell you. So the last point on the fact, the .edu, for example, for these closed things, I'm going to give you 2 examples why it is important. Take the example of Google.edu and Microsoft like program Live.edu. They have all their software available for free if you are a college or school, if you have your domain name under .edu. So if it is in the US, they ask no question. If you are in another country, they need to do some investigation to see if you're really a college or not. And they got all the package, like the Google Apps package, they're going to give it for you for free. All universities get it for free. So it help our kids and our students, get exposed to all the technology for free during their courses. And this is one of the main reasons promoting .edu under your ccTLD will help you get an identity for those who are in college, in the learning process, and all corporate companies who work in IT, they will see that the potential of growth will come from there. They will bring their technology, they're going to teach them for free. But if you come from another part of the domain name space in the country, all the services you're going to get going to be commercial one. So I think that this is just an example why managing this type of extension is really important. But they have to get a requirement. It cannot be free registration. It has to be closed registration. Because if I register and I'm not a school, and I register, I'm a business